PayPal is turning its back on its original mission. It is now leading the charge to restrict participation by those it deems unworthy. The censorship gets greater. It doesn't stay the same or stagnant or reduce. The censorship only increases. Now it's moving from content into everything else. Let's actually dive into some examples about where big tech is overreaching. And I would argue that US consumers and producers alike are not happy about it. First example is PayPal. Now, not necessarily a monopoly, pure kind of FAMGA level monopoly yet, but you have here one of the co-founders of PayPal, this guy named David Sachs, who recently penned this article just at the end of July. And, he's talking about the level of censorship that now big tech is making under the vein of saying, hey, we need to do this to protect, to protect society at large. He starts off, when I helped create PayPal in 1999, it was in furtherance of a revolutionary idea. No longer would ordinary people be dependent on large financial institutions to start a business. Our democratized payment system caught fire and grew exponentially with millions of users who appreciated its ease and simplicity. Traditional banks were too slow, bureaucratic to adapt. Instead, the revolution we spawned 2 decades ago inspired new startups and this whole new kind of financial reengineering. But now PayPal is turning its back on its original mission. It is now leading the charge to restrict participation by those it deems unworthy. Once you start down this path, we've talked about it as it relates to social media platforms, right? Once the social media platform starts to regulate content, is it really a platform or is it really more of a publisher? And this goes back to the Section 230, which comes up so frequently. And once you open Pandora's box and you're a content platform and you start to regulate what speech can be said on your platform, you now have crossed the line. And what you see happen, this isn't a hypothetical, right? We've got now years of precedent to show that the censorship gets greater. It doesn't stay the same or stagnant or reduce. The censorship only increases. We've seen this clearly across Facebook and Google and Amazon with books, AWS now, and he even talks about it here. David talks about most of the finance tech stack, Stripe, Square, PayPal, Shopify, GoFundMe declared they were canceling the accounts of individuals and organizations connected to the Capitol riot. And they're saying that Parler was connected to the Capitol riot, even though Facebook and Twitter and all the mainstream social media platforms had way more of the type of activity that they were beating up on Parler for, right? So once you open Pandora's box and you bring biased and subjective censorship and rulemaking into play, it only increases. It doesn't stay the same or get less, right? Just like government power. Government power is only staying the same or increasing. Government power is not decreasing. This is a great example. PayPal now getting into, guess what? The censorship game. It started around content and social media with the YouTubes and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the Twitters. And now it's moving from content into everything else, right? And we saw it earlier this year in 2021 with the stack, with the infrastructure, which David mentioned here, AWS, and then the group that followed. The censorship is only increasing. And you say to yourself, okay, Alex, I mean, like, are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Like, what? It kind of seems like everywhere you look, every door you open these days, it's censorship and it's government overreach and, everywhere. Net, yeah, I'm actually very optimistic over the long term, and I think the way this all plays out is the pain's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. That sucks, but it's kind of like a necessary evil. We are seeing all these big, powerful actors impose their will and they'll just do whatever they want, right? And I think more and more people are waking up. I actually think a majority of Americans see what's going on. They're already awake. It's just a matter of how much you're going to make them uncomfortable and basically tick them off before they take action. That's exactly what's happening right now. The overreach is only going to continue until we, the people, enforce our will and recognize that whether it's the government or big tech, they work for us, not the other way around. And unfortunately, both of those parties, government and big tech, have forgotten that. But it'll all change. It'll all come back into balance. But it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. This stuff's only going to continue, right? We had this guy on the show, the guest, Mike Mathis. We were saying none of this stuff in Congress, none of this stuff, with Lena Khan at the FTC, these regulators, no one's going to rein in big tech anytime soon. All this stuff is years away. And that's best case scenario, right? That's if all of the donors and the lobbyists don't water down everything or just kill any legislation altogether. I mean, this stuff is just showing everyone their true colors, whether it's government's thirst for power or big tech's thirst for power. Hi, I'm Alex. Thanks for watching the show. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, but even better, make sure to follow us on Odyssey, follow us on Rumble, and text us 203-646-5159. Text the word Monopoly. You'll be subscribed. You'll get updates about when we're going live, our latest videos, and we'll send you even a little goodie bag. And in the event that we all get banned from big tech, we'll still be connected.